Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. So this video is going to be an overview of this Aero Precision SPR build that I put together. It's not going to be in and of itself a review of all these components. I'll do reviews, they get a little more technical and talk a little bit more about quality later, but today we're just going to kind of talk about all the pieces, and then at the end we'll talk about how it shot as far as accuracy. So how I ended up choosing to go with Aero Precision, I was looking for receiver sets online and came across their brand, which their name caught my eye because I'm an aerospace engineer, and I saw that they had their manufacturing roots in aerospace engineering, which is kind of cool since, if you didn't know, the original Armalite rifles were manufactured by Fairchild, which was also an aerospace manufacturer. But anyway, I saw that they offered pretty good quality products, it seemed like, from what people were saying, so I decided to go ahead and kind of base this build around what they offered. So we'll get started here. Rifle's clear, so we can get started down near the muzzle. So this is just an A2 bird cage. Was going to buy a specific muzzle device, however I do hope to buy a suppressor soon, and I wanted to look into some QD options, so I didn't want to quite commit to getting a muzzle device yet, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be swapped out pretty soon for some sort of QD suppressor mounting device. This barrel here is from Ballistic Advantage. It is a 223 wild chambered 1-in-8 twist stainless steel barrel. It's 416R rifle length gas system. This is their SPR profile barrel. It's pretty heavy profile, so the flutings definitely help to keep the weight down, although this is still a pretty heavy barrel. It's sitting inside what I believe is their enhanced M-lock handguard. A lot of their newer handguards that you'll see on their website do not have the continuous top Picatinny rail, and they're a lot slimmer than this one. And I think for sort of a 3-gun or some sort of carbine you plan to be moving with, that'd be awesome because you're saving with weight and it might be a little more comfortable for you to get your hand around up here. But I prefer the look of the kind of monolithic Picatinny rail. And also this, let me see if I can show this here on camera, but this handguard has a pretty flat, it's pretty flat on the bottom. Now it is pretty big as well, so it's kind of bulky, but this bottom edge right here is pretty flat. And so that actually makes it nice to shoot off of barricades or bags and stuff, which I'm often doing with this gun. Or I have this Picatinny section down here. M-lock Picatinny rail is just for a bipod that I have to shoot this rifle off of as well. This particular upper is their M4E1. It's their enhanced upper. They kind of have a little bit of a billet look, if you will. These are not billet receivers. They're forged 70-75, I believe, but they kind of have that look. They have some sharp angular lines and whatnot, but I went with that one. And the enhanced has to do with the way that the handguard does not sit on the barrel nut itself. It actually sits on an extension of the upper receiver, which means your barrel nut doesn't have to be timed to allow the gas tube to pass through it. So that's kind of an advancement I think they've made. And they've also gone ahead and replaced a few roll pins with screws, specifically here on the forward assist. And then also your bolt release pin is not actually a pin, it's a little set screw. So it's kind of cool to see them trying to innovate upon what we know is a standard pattern AR-15 receiver and kind of milk as much innovation as we can out of it. That is all, or I could say inside it's Aero Precision's black nitride bolt carrier group. And this is all sitting on the enhanced lower as well. So that, I believe the enhanced lower, you get the trigger guard is an integral piece of the receiver, as well as a flared mag well. Now this lower parts kit, this was purchased as a complete lower with an A2 grip and no stock. So all the lower parts kit minus the trigger is just what Aero shipped with it. So it's just your standard mag release, standard non-ambi safety, and standard bolt release, nothing too special. The trigger is an Arsenal Line Products AR-15 two-stage. I actually bought this trigger, I believe, almost 4 years ago now on Brownells for about 90 bucks, and I've been super excited with it. It's been a really good trigger for me, so I pulled it out of an older build and put it in this one. We'll likely be getting another one of these for that older build I took it out of, but we can go ahead and show you that trigger here. So there's not too much take up, and then it just breaks real clean. I think it's about, I don't have a trigger scale, but I believe it's about 2 pounds in the first, to hit the first wall, and then about another 2 to break it. But yeah, super nice trigger, especially for the money. But other than that, this is just the Magpul K2. It's just a more vertical grip. I prefer that, especially when shooting off of like a prone position or something. Just a standard buffer tube, like I said, that's shipped with this complete lower. The stock is a Blackhawk Axiom Nox, I believe, or Nox Axiom. I actually have some opinions on this stock I'd like to share, so I'll do a review of this one day for sure, so keep an eye out for that in the future. But I originally purchased the first one of these that I had. It's on a different rifle still, but just this kind of hex butt pad I thought looked super cool, and to be honest, that's the only reason, so I picked that one up. And then I picked another one up for this one, but I'll be doing a review on those because I'd like to kind of share some of the opinions I've had over using those for a couple of years now. Finally, up top, we've got the Vortex Diamondback Tactical. This is the 4 to 12 by 40, so this is the older second focal plane model. I believe now they have a first focal plane model that's a 4 to 16 or so, but I originally picked this scope up, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago, and I've been using it on ARs ever since just because it's so light. I believe it's 12 ounces, and I mean, I've made shots with this rifle and previous rifles that it's been on, but specifically this rifle out to 700 yards pretty easily using these turrets. So this has been really great for me. It's sitting in a Primary Arms Deluxe AR-15 scope mount. I'd like to swap this out for something lighter. As you can see, it's a little kind of beefy, especially for what I use this rifle for, which is just precision shooting. But so now we can talk a little bit about how it's shot so far. At the moment, I have almost 300 rounds through it. About 50, I believe, were just bulk 5.56. A few rounds of Federal Gold Medal match, and finally, the rest of it has all been PPU match, 75 grain ammunition, and I've had some good luck with that stuff. So I'll roll in a picture here of a bunch of groups. The top 3 were shot with Federal Gold Medal match, and I'll annotate in the averages for them. And then the rest that you're seeing were all PPU match. And then in this second image you're seeing on the screen, we've got, these are all PPU match, and the 7 smaller squares are shot at 100 yards, and the bottom 3 larger squares are shot at 200 yards. And again, I'll annotate the averages of all of those so you can kind of see how this rifle's performed so far. I feel that this barrel will probably get a little bit more accurate. Previous experience, the last sort of SPR rifle I had, really, I saw it kind of break in at about 300 rounds or so, reach maximum potential is what I mean by break in, stop getting more accurate. And so when I do a review on that rifle, I'll have some targets throughout time that will show that, but I expect this rifle to get a little bit more accurate. It's hanging right about just a hair over MOA, and I have a feeling that after about 300 or 400 rounds through this rifle, we'll easily be under 1 MOA pretty consistently. So I did mention we have shot this rifle out to 700 yards. I don't have any paper targets at that range. We were shooting steel, and it was on a day with a large group of people all shooting steel targets, but I did manage to get pictures at the end of the day, and sort of I can show you some of the group size of what groups we were able to track through a spotting scope. I sort of wrote them down on my phone so that we could go back and show them to you later. But we'll start off with this first image on the screen is just where we were shooting, just to kind of show you what it was. The target on the left is the 400-yard target on the right is 600 yards, and then even further to the right there's a 700-yard target. So this first image here was a target shot at 400 yards, and there's a lot of other dings from all the other rifles being shot, but I did my best to draw a circle around and the yellow arrows pointing to the specific 223 impacts from this rifle. To give you an idea of how accurate it was just over 4 inches. I believe when we measured it, I did not write the measurements down, but I think that is a 14-inch plate across the bottom, 12 or 14, and so you can use that to sort of judge the size of the group. The next image we'll be looking at is at 600 yards. Now this group, I don't remember the specific number, but it was under 6 inches. I believe it was about 5 3/4, but that was pretty impressive as well. And then this final image here was a group that was shot at 700 yards with this rifle. And you can see that was pretty impressive to me. I believe that was about an 8.5 inch group, which is solid for me for this rifle and fairly cheap ammunition. The PPU match 223, although as you saw in the previous image, I did not specifically see like a large advantage in accuracy and gold medal match over that PPU stuff. Now I also shot a lot less rounds of it, but nonetheless. But anyway, so that's just kind of an overview of this rifle. I've really fallen in love with it so far. It's a dream to shoot, and I look forward to getting a lot more rounds through it and maybe even trying to stretch it out further. So that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you liked the video, a dislike if you didn't, and make sure to let me know why. But other than that, thanks for watching.